Good morning. It's the first day of Positive Hack Days and the third day of our defenders and attackers on the cyber field standoff. We're going to speak in this studio with the participants of Cyber Fight, but we're going to begin with people who know a lot about cybersecurity, about how to prepare specialists in the area of cybersecurity, and about cyber fields. We have Anton Kaligin, the head of coaching group InnoStage. And InnoStage, if you don't know, is a Positive Hack Days partner. And what is very important, InnoStage experts, they play the global SOC between attackers and defenders. And Dmitry Ivanov from Azbuka Vkusa, and also several inadmissible risks that will be realized by red teams are related to this F-market chain. Dmitry, can you tell us, please, how the F-market is related to the Azbuka Vkusa, and what relation do you have to this? Well, we want the real sectors of economy, retail and e-commerce, to pay attention to the information security topic, and we do everything possible to realize it, to make it possible, because the information security risks are not the fintech. They are related to everything, even the purchases in your store and business functioning as well. As I know, your risks, which are going to be realized by Red Team, also are related to the loyalty program and equipment as well, right? Yes, at the standoff, we have the copy of Real Store with the tilt offices, with the loyalty, ERP, payment systems, authorization, identification scheme, and we have a big number of interesting risks which can be realized by Red Teams and Blue Teams, which can try to prevent or detect them. Red Team success and incident investigation related with the F-market, you can see them at the standoff site, standoff365.com event. Please follow us. I also would like to ask you both, which two words, which of you associate with a cyber exercise and cyber fields?
Well, the
cyber field and cyber training started with the standoff. So the first word is standoff that I associate. The second one is the blue. Because we did not play for the red team, but we've been defending, we've been working with the blue team. So these are two words which are coming to my head as association. Dmitry, cyber field for me is the reputation of this platform. This is the platform you can trust to and you should trust to. And the second one is a professional team of attackers which can give interesting ideas at the break vector in the process. It's very curious and interesting. And as a representative of positive technologies, I will add a couple of words. The first one, cyber field, it's always emulation of real life, real systems, real defense. And the second one, Anton, because you said that blue team, I'll say the word red team, because the peculiarity of our cyber fight is that it happens with real life hackers, real life teams. And without the red team, it's not going to be interesting for the blue team, right? Right. Anton, InnoStage develops complex solutions for its clients. Tell me, please, in which cases you include in these complex solutions projects related with a cyber field? Well, cyber field, first of all, it's a story about employment, about training, employee qualification and competency improvement. Therefore, we are saying when a client has a certain level of maturity, a high level of maturity, when a client has a number of complex solutions, complex systems, like CM class solutions, these systems, WAF systems, then specialists which are going to work with these systems, they should not only be able to tune it up, but also how to discover computer attacks in SOC, well, modern HOCs, commercial in-house SOC systems. Like in-house SOCs until the February 22, they did face real incidents, real computer attacks. Maybe twice, 3 times a year. And by that moment of time, well, you have to be ready for that moment. And in order to be able to be ready for this moment, you should go through many stages. You should feel how the real computer attack looks like, how these incidents which are formed by external criminals and hackers How can they be realized? That's why when we see these systems on the side of the client, we offer to conduct cyber training and a story with the cyber field, with the possibility of training them, with the possibility of feel themselves both in the red shoes, in the blue shoes, and see those incidents which are formed by real hackers. Very often, our clients who went through the cyber field training, they tell us that in the course of 2 days, they received so many incidents which they never faced within 6 months. It's a big value for them. Yes, it is. During standoff, when I participated there for the first time, we did see a big number of different incidents which you are not going to see in your daily life until you won't become one big SOC. And when you will have a lot of clients, you will not be able to see those incidents. So during the standoff, you will be able to improve your security system. You will be able to see those things which you are not going to see within a year or two working in your company. But generally speaking, we do believe that standoff should be approached when you are ready. Standoff is a cyber training. And okay, I will stop you, dear colleagues. There's an attack here. Okay, metal factory, Metallica, we see. I don't see which team. They stopped the machine. Great job. A continuous molding machine was stopped, and this is one of the key business processes, one of the key business elements in the steel mill. Good job. They should go through 8 steps, 8 short steps, but at least those people who came to our cyber festival, they will be able to see it completely, which steps were taken, how this attack was realized, and we're going to tell you about all the incidents which are happening in the process. Hackers broke into the steel mill Metallico. And data theft happened as well. In the previous 2 days, it was one of the most common incidents, data theft, which was faced by our defenders. Dmitry, I understand that data theft is a very important topic, but how is it important to retail, and how can it be important to other industries? Well, I would like to add that you shouldn't underestimate the work of defenders, but there's another side. It's the team of attackers. And company which participates in a cyber field who works on the infrastructure like steel mill in order to do these pen tests and see how their hardware, software, and informational systems are protected. Because as we can see it from the experience, hackers, well, we have one event after another event. Bank system was broken in and the personal data was stolen. It was the first such incident that we've seen during Wednesday, after several dozens of minutes. And of course, our hackers were making their money by realizing inadmissible events and theft of personal data. Let's continue. Well, this is the market which allows you to understand the business, how well systems are protected, how easy it is to break into them. And from the point of view of vulnerabilities, you can come to the conclusions, patch vulnerabilities, and in the end run, do not admit realization of the main risks for the business, stoppage of the business process, leakage of certain data, client data, and commercial secrets. And this is your main objective of participation in the cyber field. Yes. The main one is realization of business risks so that our company work and wouldn't be subject to external influences from the point of view of hacker attacks. On one side, I want to continue my conversation with you, but we are being attacked all the time. In a positive sense, of course. So if you don't know, Positive Hack Days is in the Gorky Park. It's the biggest and well-known park in Moscow. And it does have the ferry wheel. And our hackers have stopped the ferry wheel in our M state, in its capital.
Сделали это буквально в 7 шагов. И получили...
And they've done it within 7 steps, received 3.5 thousand points. Hot. It's very hot in here. Dmitry, have you been participating in a cyber field? You're the veteran of this movement. As attacker or defender? As attacker. We participated as analyzers of what was discovered, and from the point of view of patching of those processes which led to these vulnerabilities.
Я верю, что наверняка вы используете не только такие...
I believe that you are not just using the ways of audit and processes of whatever it is, but which attack emulation is the most interesting for you, in which cases you select pen tests, in which other cases you select some simpler ways of emulation, and in which and when you put your systems to a higher level hacker attacks. Well, if you speak about compliance of the commercial company, I would recommend to use pen testing only when you are preparing yourself and when you build information security processes, because it has less risks than participation in a public cyber field or launching your bug bounty program. As for web tools and scripts which analyze the vulnerabilities, they have to be used all the time, irrespectively from the maturity of the company. And safe development processes should be inside of the internal development processes. All these tools are good at every stage. And by the way, I know that you're also thinking about bug bounty programs. As a final result, in the year 4 or 5, the only program in retail is paying a bug bounty for the vulnerabilities discovered. It's a very successful program and it brings its results. So big bug hunters, please pay attention. Азбука вкуса puts their systems for testing. Anton, I have a question to you. How you, as a person who is responsible for cyber exercise in the inner stage, how do you do this cyber exercise? Which methods do you use? Well, cyber exercise is a complex approach. We offer different formats depending on the competency and what the client wants to get. There could be 1-2 day cyber exercises where clients need to check their knowledge, something like cyber fight, but in a small format, when there's a small red team or we emulate attacks. Also, we offer complex stories when we have a mentor and when you need to increase competencies of new specialists, and our mentors are pushing you from the scratch. They're telling how to work with the systems, how you should detect and find the attacks, and in the course of 1 month, maybe 2 months, you can bring a person from zero to the expert level and let him dive so that he can work in SOC in the first or the second line of defense. Also, we have our own platform of the cyber field where we provide access to subscription with the content, both theoretical and practical content, and every specialist who has the access to this platform in the course of 1 year with this subscription can start learning and increase his own experience, knowledge, solve some technical objectives that he can find in our cyber field. And as your colleagues told me, that very often you teach your teams, and when the team is ready and the organization is ready, some of them, they come to these large fields like standoff. Yes, our main objective is to, for the guys who are ready, they should come to the standoff. They should come to the world of defenders, and they will show how well they've increased their skill and how can they stop real attacks from real hackers. How they improve competencies from the point of view of discovering the security incidents. Well, if you have participated as a red team member, what is the interest for hackers, for red teams? What is their win-win? Well, I didn't participate, but my team participated, and I've been helping to the red team. First of all, what's interesting to them is to get to those inadmissible events and realize them. And during pin tests, during the red team story, Nobody will let you stop the ferry wheel or break the nuclear power plant. But in here, you have a possibility to go to the very end, steal money, break oil, gas, metal, steel mill. So it is interesting. They can do maximal number of their ideas without limiting themselves.
Счастье киберполигона как такового.
Well, it's a joy of the cyber field that you can check with any vulnerabilities without any damage against productive organizational environment. Also, you can find some other 0 days in those systems which are represented at the cyber field, including those which are coming from our colleagues who install their servers and
Вопрос мой был
systems.
в моих заготовках.
So the question was formulated as when the field is good, when it's good for the red team,
Для
Dmitry, and for you as a company
своего оборудования,
who
своей
tests their equipment,
круто.
when
Что
it's going to be available, what should be there?
Это было очень круто, когда мы выставили ту же самую инфраструктуру, которая была.
Last year we had a similar infrastructure as during the first standoff, and then we have understood that previously found vulnerabilities were patched. This was cool. This is something that you can use as results of the cyber field. During the first cyber field, we looked like, plate with a lot of holes. Then 1 year we've been patching vulnerabilities, we've been changing services, and we've been retuning it. And the second time we came in and we've seen that everything that we've done, that number of risks have been reduced. No critical risks were realized. And the third time we came here right now is because all the informational systems are changing. They have new functionality in the CAS offices. They have new payment systems. They're integrated with new services.
Информационная система — это быстрорастущий живой
So informational system is a fast-growing organism which requires continuous attention of specialists in security.
информационная безопасность.
And informational security as a process, it's not a result, but as a process, which should exist continuously. And it's pretty cool when you see a result. You see what's wrong with you.
Что да, ты
So, well, you come and you understand that you have fixed everything and everything's okay. And this is our concept, the concept of development of our cyber field. Yes, this is wonderful when you have a lot of big cyber exercises twice a year, but our clients come to us and they say, okay, we have learned, we have understood, but we want to set up, we want to check, we want to recheck our processes, our teams in every dimension, because cybersecurity is a viable organism. And this is why, gentlemen,
также существует.
Standoff Cyber Field exists and it starts its operation in an online format. I'm going to tell you about it a little bit later. Dmitry, we've been talking about this topic, but nevertheless, maybe you will give us some specifics of some specific systems which are very important for retail. Which vulnerabilities you work with, and what is so specific about these cyber exercises for you and your team?
именно ритейла не существует, наверное.
There is no specifics of retail. You just have to be involved in cybersecurity. That's it. But our specifics is that in the framework of cyber field, we just built our
Которые в обвязке сервиса
store
атакующие могут
together with the cashiers' offices.
атаковать и найти там уязвимости.
The tilts are being attacked and they find vulnerabilities, which is not available in our bug bounty program because they have real fighting systems, real tilt offices, real processes. But in here, you can put the tilt with all the connections and let hackers break it. The specifics is to bring out something that you have in your real stores and then build equivalent infrastructure here and let them break it.
Большое, но я как
Thank you very much.
магазинов,
As a visitor of your stores, I can say that
мы пробиваем через киберполигон ваше оборудование.
after checking your equipment in a cyber field, I go to your stores with a more peace in mind. Anton, I have the following question.
И твои ваши
You're observing the cyber fight, and your colleagues in Kazan
практически
are
работают.
working day and night as a global SOC for our cyber fight. Do you have any observations from the current standoff? What was so interesting? Well, the current cyber fight is very intensive. While we've been talking, we had 3 inadmissible events which happened. During the first day, in 44 first minutes, the first inadmissible event was conducted. SCADA was broken during the first day. It didn't happen last year SCADA was not broken, but this year hackers have well prepared. They are highly motivated today, so they were able to get through to financial sector. They were able to get through to the banks. Everybody wanted for the banks to be broken, so they broke into the banks. They stole the money. Everybody's very happy. So money was stolen from the card that was stolen. Yeah. And there are small insight. Yes, I will fish it, but I'm not going to tell you about it. In one of the services, they found 0 days from the hackers. They're checking it now. Well, it's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting conclusion or the result of the cyber fight. And this year, banking system, this is one of the main systems, have extended significantly. And right now we have 4 banks emulated here. Central bank, first of all, in the context of interbanking payments and relations, not as regulator. Also, we have retail bank, we have digital bank, and we have acquiring, which was broken yesterday. They've substituted payments between 2 organizations. Also, very important vulnerability that was realized. And do you watch our cyber fight? What is so interesting from these events? Well, as for the 0 day, you can see how important it is to have a good reputation on the platform, and 0 days should have this reputation. This is a very important component. Yes, I will tell you that I care of realization of our risks, because it's interesting to see what became better, what became worse, what works, what doesn't work, which vulnerabilities do we have, and how can we patch everything, because everything installed here is installed in our stores in Moscow, and maybe availability of 0 days in this device will be very dangerous. Do I properly remember that you have not have any inaccessible events as Azbuka of Kusa? Yeah, we didn't have it. Okay, also I would like to step back from the cyber field and ask you, maybe you can remember some interesting incidents in your sphere, in Russia or outside of Russia, something that's going to be interesting to our viewers as users, as buyers, some interesting life hacks. Well, it's hard to call it interesting. You can call it in the horizon of 1 year, attacks against holding. Well, it's a very good indicator of the business that you have to get involved in information security, because some companies, they stop their processes for several days before they try to restore their work. Out of interesting cases, it was the only interesting one. Anton, can you give us the comment of those cases, how the cyber exercises could be useful and could defend themselves? Well, during the cyber exercise and other cyber fields, we realized different types of computer incidents, of different computers, different formats, different types, and the work of the encoder. Well, these cases are realized. We have different types of encoders. We'll take it from real life. We tell it from real clients, from real incidents, from real reports. But from how it happens in this world, we show it in the cyber field, then we show it us to monitor and how should we react and how should we defend ourselves from this. So when you've seen all of this, when you know all of this, you understand how to work with this within your infrastructure. Can you tell me, please, some real case that you had in your learning program of the recent ones? We had a lot of deface of sites. We took a real story when one of the web services was broken and defaced it. Then we analyzed it and reproduced it one-to-one, the whole chain of how it was happening. Also, we've been taking a story with the encoder, and we've been investigating an incident when malware has not been used, but they've used inbuilt systems of Windows in order to encode the disk
Здесь также мы взяли
Also, we took the story and we have not reproduced it because there were some confidential services,
использовали плюс-минус ту же технику, и конечный
and
именно так же, как сделал это.
the result, as it was done by the hackers and criminals, and we are showing
И самое главное, каким образом увидеть те самые ключи, которые
how can you see those keys which were used during the encoding, how it should be decoded.
Я бы хотел добавить, что, наверное, обнаружение на ранних этапах
Discovering at early stages it's the most important thing, because if you have 100% of devices being encoded, nothing can be done.
ты смог на ранних этапах где-то изолировать в сегментах сети, у тебя там меньшая часть устройств зашифрована.
Maybe not many devices have been encoded, and you can work with some of them.
Реагирование и опыт реагирования
Operative reaction and experience of reaction,
полигона.
and work with cyber fields.
Ну и, наверное, последняя часть нашей
And perhaps the last part of our today's conversation, as we've told you previously,
киберсетевой
Cyber Festival Positive Hug Days this year is happening in a fully open format. Everybody living in Moscow can come to the Gorky Park and see a big number of participants, quests. We'll see a lot of concerts and go through a lot of interesting things. And we've done it because for us it's extremely important to improve the trust to technologies. And it is very important so that cybersecurity problems would also be understood by regular people. And that's why I would like to ask you, Dmitry,
вкуса в первую очередь у вас.
as a client of Azbuka Vkusa, your client, maybe there are some advices that you can give to regular consumers and buyers. What should they do so they wouldn't become the
До конца вопрос, но совет, который я бы дал, быть бдительным и пытаться
be open-minded and try to understand what are those informational technologies and systems,
использовать пароль.
and why is it so bad to use simple password for banking accounts. So learning is the most important thing here.
Например, с картами
What
лояльности.
shouldn't be done with loyalty cards, which are virtual or basic security.
Можете повторить вопрос?
картами лояльности. Что не нужно делать?
What shouldn't be done with loyalty cards?
Наверное, если вы не
You shouldn't give them to your friends,
накопленные бонусы,
or you will lose all your accumulated bonuses. It's the equivalent of regular banking card. What can you do with banking card? You don't give your banking card to a person you don't trust. Same thing, it's the same money.
У нас киберполигон, насколько много
Well, the
происходит.
cyber field, and there are so many events are happening. Sometimes we don't hear each other being in the same studio. Anton, and maybe your advice
Для всех.
for the people, for everybody.
Не забывать про цифровую гигиену,
Don't forget about digital hygiene.
использовать сложные пароли.
Use complicated passwords. Don't trust to different messengers and messages in messengers.
Все мошенники используют социальные
All
сети, пытаются нас тем или иным
criminals use social engineering and they try to make us to communicate with them, contact them.
простых пользователей.
That's why for simple users, and being a simple user myself, I often see these situations in my life. First of all, check and check again, and don't trust that you have received a prize and somebody calls you from technical support of the bank or Ministry of Internal Affairs. All these things have to be double checked. As it was properly said, digital hygiene is very important. I also would like to add that it is very important to apply the principle of common wisdom.
Понимать.
You always have to understand, yes, of course, I've received an invitation to participate in this contest.
Этого
Can I expect this from this agent, for example? Maybe it's normal if
клиента, который я являюсь,
it's a store whose client I am and they send me a possibility to participate in this contest. But what should be done?
прежде чем
What should people check before following the link?
смс-ку,
Somebody sent me an SMS message. Azbuka Vkusa does a new contest. Click here. What should be done? How should I be cut? Be open-minded. Look at the sender. Look at the link you follow. Follow the digital hygiene.
это
Digital hygiene,
но
it's a very complex concept. But once again, understanding of how the internet works, understanding of how services work,
возможность найти мошенника,
will give you a possibility to find the criminal in your regular processes. There are no silver bullet
отправь куда
that you've received some SMS, send it somewhere, and you will be able to say, is it a criminal or not? No, everything depends on us.
понимание,
So general understanding and attention to details which are happening around you. and learning. So please come, please improve your digital awareness at Positive Hug Days. Anybody can come, bring your children, bring anybody. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. And in our studio, we had Dmitry Kazivanov from Informational Security Department in Azbuka of Kusa, and Anton Kolegin,
экспертного обучения и наставничества компании.
expert training and coaching from InnoStage. InnoStage is the general partner of Positive Hug Days.
Спасибо.
Thank you very much once again. Thank you, dear colleagues.